All right, hello. So today we are talking about the metabolism of alcohol. So, as you know from just studying macronutrients and tracking macros, carbohydrates are 4 calories per gram, fats are 9 calories per gram. Okay, alcohol sits somewhere in between those two. Okay, so alcohol is 7 calories per gram, which makes it really awkward to track. And most apps don't even have an option for tracking alcohol. And if you're consuming a mixed drink, that makes it even harder because then you're trying to account for the sugar that's in that drink, which a lot of drinks have. And if it's a milky kind of drink, it's also got fats in there, like mudslides and things like that, any kind of, chocolate martinis or whatever. So alcohol just becomes really tricky. So, in terms of tracking, I like for my clients and patients to either look at alcohol as a carb or look at it as a fat. And so, if that particular day you're a little behind on your carb, you haven't had a lot of carbs that day, then when you're tracking alcohol, just track it as sugar, track it as a carbohydrate. If you're lacking on fats, track it as a fat. So one drink, if it's a glass of beer or wine, I count as 14 grams of fat or as 23 grams of carbs. Okay, so if you're tracking alcohol, that's how I want you to track it in terms of beer or wine. Once we get down into like the margaritas and the Cosmos and all those other crazy drinks, it does get a lot more difficult to truly track and know what you're drinking because the sugar content of those drinks is pretty high. So for now, let's just keep it simple. If one drink is 23 grams of carbs or it's 14 grams of fat, whichever is working for you better that day, I'm okay with that tracking system. More concerning about tracking alcohol is the dehydration process and the process by which it, is filtered through your body. So, alcohol has a big effect on a process called osmosis. And osmosis is the flow of water in and out of cells. So that's what we're going to be drawing a little bit today. And so let's get our color palette ready here. Let's go with this color. And let me make this a little, let's go about here. Okay. So these are your cells. And I know I'm really great at drawing, so these are some good looking cells. We're just going to draw 3 cells. You have a lot more cells than this in your body, but we're just going to draw 3. So in a normal situation, you've got water inside your cells that helps with all the different processes that you need, okay? And you've got water outside of your cells. Okay, and it's typically in a pretty decent balance. Your body's pretty good at keeping that water balanced, both the inside and the outside of your cell. Okay, oops. Let's undo that. Okay, so again, in a normal situation, this is water, and let's go with pink. And let's say pink is a solute. Oops, that's okay. And so let's say a solute is anything like salt, right? Chloride, glucose, say anything basically that's not water, okay? And so these dots are going to represent solute, okay? And I'm purposely not drawing any solute in here so I can show you that movement of what happens, okay? So again, the yellow is our cell, the blue is water, and the pink is any kind of solute. So anything basically you put in your body that's not water, okay? So during the day, we've got a natural flow of both solute and water. So that's our solute fluctuation. And water flowing in and out of a cell, okay? When you drink a lot of alcohol, what ends up happening is there ends up being just a ton of solute hanging around outside of the cells. Just a ton more, okay? And your body goes, well, what in the heck am I supposed to do with all of this? Okay, it is just really packing up. The more wine we drink, the more The more wine, the more margaritas, the more whatever your drink of choice is, gin and tonics, they all start to pile up outside of the cells. So in order to handle that, we're going to use this cell here in order to show you that situation. So in order to handle that, this cell will start to absorb solute. So solute, as a result, will have to come into your cells. When solute does that, the normal amount of water that's in your cells, okay, so if there's a normal amount of water, that water will be pushed out. Okay, so then you're going to end up with a cell that, instead of looking like this in a nice equal balance, starts to look like this and has a lot of solute hanging around, and water is flushing out. So now what you end up after drinking a lot is you've got solute flushed into your cells, so they're very big, they're very swollen, plus a ton of water that's just hanging out outside of your cells. So that water can't help you with processes, that water can't help you with digestion, with any kind of cellular functions. So that water just ends up hanging out outside of the cells, and that creates bloat. Okay, so that's the next morning when you wake up and you're like, oh my gosh, I look horrible after a night of drinking. That's usually a temporary look. It's not any kind of permanent weight gain or anything like that, but it's a result of this process, that osmotic shift. So, more important to me than the tracking of alcohol is the metabolism of alcohol, and the fact that it leaves you in a situation that is, instead of a balanced situation like these cells up here, it looks more like this. So that affects your workout recovery, that affects your hunger levels, that affects your sleep schedule. So a lot of just different cascading effects happen as a result of drinking. So I encourage my clients to enjoy alcohol, but not to abuse alcohol. And, just keep in mind that alcohol in moderation is not going to hurt us. It's not going to do anything terrible to our bodies. It's alcohol that creates this type of a situation that leaves us in trouble because it affects the other areas of our health and our fitness. Okay, it's not so much that acute calorie gain from the alcohol. It's this situation that concerns me, and the workout that you missed, and the binge eating that you did the day after of carbs because it messed up your hormone levels that caused you to crave carbs. So this situation is more of what I'm concerned about, not so much the tracking. So let's just keep it in moderation, keep it under control, and we will go from there. Let me know if you guys have any questions. Thanks so much.